Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and with me this week I got Joe.
Hey man.
And Jimmy.
What is it that is up,
That
dogs?
that is up that it is.
That what?
I don't know.
Say that again.
That is, I don't know what I said.
I have no. We lost it forever.
It's gone. There's no way we can ever recall
Listeners,
it. Play back the tape.
tweet at us what Josh just said
We
at FNL Podcast.
That's right.
.twitter.net.
Joe, are you taking selfies right now or
No, I'm just scanning in this Wikipedia article,
Oh, okay.
getting all the
You're
knowledge.
scanning it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna like fax it later?
Like you're just downloading it into your brain, ready to go for future reference.
Yep.
If
And then
needed.
I'm just like NBC 1989. That's
You're
all I
not
know.
cheating, are you?
Very important thing for all of our listeners to know. Joe, how does this podcast work?
Oh, listen up. Listen up. We take a TV show, maybe a show that's older that we haven't seen before. And then we watch only the first and last episode. We make some predictions before we watch the first one. We watch the first one, and then we make some predictions about the last episode. Then we watch the last one, talked about how we felt about it.
Talk
And
about
a
our
lot
feelings.
of times, we might not know what's going on.
Listen, guys, mistakes have been made. Mistakes will be made, and mistakes are literally currently being
I feel
made.
like okay, so I listened to last week's episode because I'm a fan, I'm a follower. I follow FNL
When
on
you're-
the tweet machines.
When you're not on the podcast, you're just like all the other pasta pals, Jimmy.
Yeah, I just one of you guys, listeners. I don't know anything about anything, but here's the deal: there's way too much effing content out there, and like the rest of you, I'm just at home rewatching The Office for like the 8th time because it's just too daunting to start a new show, and I feel like
It's safe to watch The Office.
it.
It's
You
our-
know,
it's
you
our
know, it's
safe
safe.
zone.
It's
Mhm.
it's your comfort blanket.
Yeah.
What's that? Is there a term? Is there a different term for that?
Yankee Swap, I believe is what it's called.
What?
Great. Is that just like another name for like the like white elephant?
Yeah,
like,
I was trying to quote
Is-
The Office somehow, and that's what came into my head.
Comfort. That's anyway. We'll blow past it. I feel like this is just F&L is just it's a case study, right? It's like, can we get through? You can't possibly watch all the TV that comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just watch the first and last episode, get a good feeling for the show, and be like, yeah, cool, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. Or, like, I would have never watched effing 8
Cougar Town,
seasons
for
of.
instance.
Still haven't watched it.
I wouldn't have
I would've-
watched all of Jersey Shore if it wasn't for this dumb fucking podcast.
Now you have.
I would.
And now I
gonna
have.
say. I was gonna say I would never watched 8 seasons of Frasier. Is there more?
Mm-hmm.
8, right?
There's
I
more.
don't remember.
I think
Is
there's like
there
11.
11?
There's a lot.
All the ups and downs. Mostly that like middle like 3
Yeah.
seasons where
All the
Frasier's
sherry.
just like a
It's a-
bigot and a chauvinist.
It's a little depressing that we're on episode 95, and Frasier is definitely the best show I think we've
Yeah,
watched.
we peaked on
We
the first
peaked-
show.
We peaked on episode 1.
Jesus.
That's what happens, you just let fate decide. It's
Joe
like,
says this.
yeah.
He hasn't
universe
finished
is
Frasier.
like,
Yeah, I haven't.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
95 eps in.
75 years later, Joe hasn't watched Frasier.
That'll
I don't even
happen.
know you anymore.
But we're watching a new show this week
Mm-hmm.
of Joe's choosing,
Yeah.
and you chose.
Quantum Leap.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We're
So-
gonna hop in and out through time.
So this man's just good at jumping? Is that what this
Hopping.
show's about?
Yeah, it's about a man
21 Jump Street.
who he does the high jump, but he can only jump like
Into other dimensions? Or?
Ugh.
yeah.
Watch Scott Bakula as he jumps into other worlds.
Why is Scott Bakula like a name that I know?
Because
He's a
in
big
stuff, dude.
big name in sci-fi.
Okay.
He's like the sci-fi guy. He was in one of the reboots of Star Trek
He was in Star Trek
Careful.
Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Get this right. People are gonna be upset.
He spent basically his entire career on the Sci-Fi Network, from what I understand.
Okay.
He was in Murphy Brown.
Oh yeah, he was. Okay, I take it back immediately. I'm sorry.
Murphy Brown's got some sci-fi aspects.
Yeah, Murphy Brown's pretty
There's
sci-fi.
some time
related.
travel, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Is that a?
I mean, apparently he was in 2 episodes of Matlock, so that's good for him.
I know.
That's about it. He's been in nothing
I
else.
remember
That's
watching
pretty
this
much it.
show as a
It's
kid
like-
on the Sci-Fi Network and thinking this is the best show I've ever seen in my life.
This show we're gonna watch today.
Quantum Leap.
Ah.
I remember as a teen, I want to say, yeah, teen, not a preteen.
You can say whatever you want. They don't know. They're not gonna fact check this.
I'm just thinking like, okay, I was probably like 15,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember watching this show and thinking this is the life right here.
This
Quantum
is
Leap?
it. This is as good as it gets for television. It was
Quantum
probably
Leap is
because
the
I
life?
watched Mystery Science Theater 3000, and there was probably like reruns of this immediately after or something.
Yeah.
I've gone back as an adult and watched random episodes, and I have not thought that it was the same as what I thought it was as a
I have
kid.
like no real memories of this. He can hop through time.
Yeah.
Like by choice, does he
How-
decide
And
where to
he's
go?
gotta-
or,
and
like-
he's
How
gotta
much-
solve some problems
How
of the
much
day.
did Sliders, starring Crystal, who's on in Sliders?
I don't think I know what Sliders is.
Sliders is
Really?
so this is what I think Quantum Leap is because
Mhm.
I can't recall. I'm sure I've seen an episode or 2 in my day,
Mhm.
but I always feel like Quantum Leap is what Sliders ripped off, and because Sliders was when I was growing up, when we were like 14.
It's slightly different.
Sliders is some dude makes like a remote control and it opens a wormhole and it goes to a parallel Earth essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
this
then
is not that, I don't think.
and then because
This is through time, not different. Same universe.
Got it. So it's time travel Sliders, not dimension travel
Yeah.
Sliders.
I think.
So, but like, does he go back in time and affect things that affect like his current timeline?
In positive ways, I believe.
Like he can go back and like stop like the Lincoln assassination or something, and then
No, I don't think things that big. I think minute things. And he's got a little helper guy who's like walking him through it.
Odd job.
Mhm.
He's got a Doc Brown.
Mm.
Marty! You kids, Marty! Pieces of shit, Marty!
What's happening?
it's somewhere
What?
between Doc Brown and like Rick.
Yeah, for sure.
But
But also he wears like big like Technicolor like zoot suits.
I'm just gonna read this
okay.
little paragraph so we know what this show's about because you're pretty close,
Okay, no
Jimmy.
spoilers though.
I don't think this is a spoiler. I think this will be explained within the first 45 seconds of the show. Quantum Leap follows the narrative of Dr. Sam Beckett, Scott Bakula,
Right.
a physicist who has become stuck in the past as a result of a time travel experiment gone wrong.
Oh, he's stuck.
Yeah. And his attempts to return to the present, the late 20th century, by altering events in the past for the better, with the aid of a hologram of his friend, Admiral Al Calavici,
Sure.
monitoring him from Sam's present. So he is stuck in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he can still talk to someone in the future, but they are a hologram.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the way to get home is to do minor good deeds throughout time.
It's like you do a good deed and it bounces you somewhere else, and then you got to do a good deed there.
I guess we'll
I
find
mean,
out.
that doesn't necessarily make much sense.
I don't remember how the bouncing happens. How the leaping.
Yeah, it's not quantum bounce, Jimmy.
All this makes me think of is Star Trek Voyager, when they're just like every other episode trying to find a wormhole to bounce just a little bit closer back to home.
Do you think he bounces into the future?
Only this is before that.
I bet there's a future episode. I bet we won't
Ooh,
see it.
Into the future, and then he has to bounce back because he leaped too far.
Yeah, I bet yeah, at some point he goes, I've gone too far.
I bet like episode 2's in the future.
Yeah, probably.
Where do you think episode 1 will send him?
Like, where does he? Oh, yeah, because episode 1
Oh,
probably starts off
Definitely like into Downton Abbey.
he's in like 1995 or whatever, and he's like, I'm a physicist and I've done it. Time
It's
travel.
older than that, isn't it?
Well, it says the late 20th century, which would be the 90s.
Oh, it starts in the. Oh, yeah.
I mean, late 20th century is the 90s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
That's
it
how-
depends on from
that's
whose point of view.
Science is.
If you
20th
wrote
century.
that paragraph in the 80s,
That's pretty
then the
late.
80s is the late 20th century, technically.
Yeah, all right. Well, it went from March 26, 1989 to May 1993. So that's
Okay.
when the show was.
So it might not
yeah.
be 89. I see.
Let me walk you through the first episode.
Mhm.
So, Dr. Samuel Beckett starts
Sammy.
off. It starts off with him in his lab. There's some gases fooling around.
Of course.
Pushes a bunch of buttons. He pronounces that he has somehow figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
He, for some reason, doesn't wait for his friends or laboratory cohorts to
They never
get
do.
back.
Mm-hmm.
He,
Too excited.
yeah, he does the experiment on himself.
Got that time boner.
And then he gets transported back in time
Mm-hmm.
to 1912.
Okay.
Straight to the Depression.
Um,
Is he in the U.S.? I
And,
hope not.
and he's back in time, but for some reason he has it would be like a satellite phone, except that satellite phone produces a hologram of his friend at home,
Mm-hmm.
who then talks to him, and he's like, Sam, you gotta do some good deeds, and that'll get you closer to here.
Gotta fix this, Sam.
And he goes, got it. And then he saves a nice looking lady from
of course.
probably a mugger or something like that. And they smooch, and that's the end of the episode.
Smooch. And then he gets bounced to like dinosaur era or something.
Yeah.
Oh God, no!
Then he tries to
Straight to prehistoric.
I would
then he
assu-
tries to smooch a dinosaur and it doesn't work.
I would assume that the end of the episode is
Worth a shot, though.
Yeah, I would assume the end of the episode is like, oh, cool, I can go back home now, and he like teleports,
And
but
realizes that
he's
there.
not home.
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
I can totally see that like the last 2 minutes is him teleporting, thinking that he's home, but it's actually like not quite right. Like he like walks into his home.
Yeah, it's like 10 years before it was his laboratory kind of
Mhm.
thing, and he like checks the gate, but the gate doesn't squeak, so he doesn't think it's home or something like that. I don't know.
Hmm.
That happened on Sliders,
Interesting.
actually. Where,
course.
where
Or
they-
he's like walking around his home and then he steps out onto the front lawn and turns out the house is like floating in space because he's in like the 22nd
On a
century,
rock.
whoa.
flying around on an asteroid.
I love it.
I don't know.
I think we go medieval for this first episode.
I was thinking that they got to go to a place where you can tell right away that it's a different time.
It's gonna be a period piece. Gonna get a lot of period pieces in this show.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, for sure smooches, for sure some medieval cleave,
I mean, he's definitely
some
gonna.
medieval cleave, if you will.
Yeah. Cleave the maid. Eve.
Middle of the eve.
Cleave.
Yeah, it's gonna be like crappy Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones with a really bad budget.
Sean Bean dies in this episode.
Oh, for sure, Sean Bean cameo, just in the background, just being killed by a commoner.
You know
A
this show
peasant.
that everything Sean Bean's in and he just dies.
Yeah, it's Trevelyan.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll accept.
I think can I add another one?
You can
I
add.
think this episode pilot is going to be a to be continued.
Yeah, I could see that.
There's going to be a
when
dot
he's
dot
floating
dot.
around on an asteroid. You got to see what happens next.
Does he? How can he breathe? Does he have? Is he in a? Does he have a oxygen? Does he have got a helmet?
It's not addressed.
Okay. We never find out.
Episode 2, he's just not on the asteroid at all. It's just like they send him back to the Wild West or something. Just ignore it.
Yeah, we've had weirder like pilots turned into other things.
Crossover with the Ninja Turtles.
Ooh. That he has to fight because they're under a spell.
Yeah, in the year 2283, he's got to fight the Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles weren't a thing in '89, were they?
Oh yeah, they totally were. What are you talking about?
Was the show a thing? I think that because it was like a comic first, wasn't it? I should know this.
I feel like they probably like
when we
helped-
come back,
probably
I'll,
like helped Batman to like solve crimes
I
for
want
like
to
10
guess
10
the
comics.
show was
like that.
89 and the movie was 91.
We're switching topics to Ninja Turtles now.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's what we're doing now, right?
Yeah, just talking about Ninja Turtles. Like the cartoon. You think the cartoon was 89?
Yeah.
I feel like I was like 9 or 10 when I was watching the cartoon. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was playing. I got a mouser, like those the little mouse robots that are always on the Metrodome. What are they called? The Megatron. What is the big?
The Metrodome?
What is
What's the Twins Stadium?
What's the big thing that Krang drives around in?
Something
Oh.
dome.
Yeah.
The Megadome?
See, it's something like that.
I feel like it was
84.
Metrodome. Or
It's
something.
not Metrodome. That's a Minneapolis thing.
Metrochrome?
Metrochrome. It's not it.
The show was 87. The movie was 1990. So it was
And the
close.
comic was 84.
Okay. We should probably get into this first episode. And you
Yeah.
guys can Google Turtles to your heart content while we watch that. Deal?
Yeah.
Deal. All right, listeners, we'll see you after the first episode of Quantum Leap.
Technodrome.
Nice.
And we're back.
And we back.
We back from that marathon two-parter first episode
Plus ads.
of Quantum Leap.
Joe.
Plus Amazon ads.
90 seconds of ads each
Alexa.
time.
Man, if you guys don't play that Harry Potter app,
What's the Amazon? What's the Amazon dude? Beelzebub.
Beelzebub?
Beelzebub.
Yeah.
Oh God, too real. No, who's the guy? Amazon guy?
Jeff Bezos?
Bezos.
Yeah, Beelzebub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that guy for all these ads. How much money you need?
He said, I think he said something along the lines of, I got a lot of money, and so the only thing that I think is accurate, like the best way to like invest all this crazy amount of money I have is space.
Yeah, not my warehouse workers.
And we'll monetize Quantum Leap.
So I can get another dollar. I can do it.
$1 per leap.
I mean,
That's yeah.
it's 5 seasons.
Baseline prices.
5 seasons of dollars right there.
That's free shipping
Yeah.
Cool.
Nailed it.
to time. Ship you to a time.
Do you got some sort of write up?
As it happens. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is for part 1 because this is a two episode one night.
Why don't you do?
And those are the rules.
Read,
What do you need?
Read 1. Talk
Okay.
about it really quick.
Okay.
And then read 2. And we'll talk
Okay,
about it really
great.
quick.
So this is Genesis part 1, September 13th, 1956. So are these all going to have a date? That's kind of fun.
I think
The
so, yeah.
third episode had a date on it when it was like
Oh, when it was
timing into
trying
it.
to-
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Although the project Quantum Leap isn't ready yet, Sam Beckett doesn't listen to the supercomputer Ziggy, hops into the accelerator and leaps, as Tom Stratton, an Air Force test pilot about to attempt a dangerous flight. That wasn't a full sentence. Sam finds his memory Swiss cheesed with only enough left to know that he is not where he or when he belongs. According to Sam's friend and partner Al, who appears to him as a hologram nobody else can see, Al explains that the project has gone awry, and in order to leap out of the pilot's body, Sam must successfully fly the X-2 to Mach 3,
Except he didn't successfly do that.
Did
Yeah,
he
that's what
he
he
was a
thinks.
little shy, I think. I don't know.
X2 is an experimental plane. Mach 3 is a very fast speed.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
I just Googled that.
So it's facts. So this guy that he's leapt into, Tom Stratton, he, according to history, ended in a fatal crash.
He died testing the X2.
And so Commander, what's his name? Admiral Al, his hologram buddy, tells him that they think that he's supposed to not crash and die to be able to leap.
Well, he said he gave him like two different. He's like, there's a couple ways we think he can get you back. Right the wrongs of the past, or like stand in a nuclear test site and get like bombed.
Yeah, you got to be bombed at ground zero.
I don't
These
understand.
are the two hypotheses.
One of them
Theses.
at least potentially sounds like a sciencey thing, which is like maybe a nuclear blast will like blow you back into the future
Blow you back
somehow.
into time. Yeah.
The other one is fuck with history and the timeline and do good deeds, and for some reason
Yeah, good deeds.
that will bring you back.
Yeah,
And your
it's-
chakra will be aligned.
There's no
Yeah.
rhyme or reason to that.
Yeah. And Ziggy is the one saying this? The computer?
Yeah. The
Ziggy the
computer
computer.
the computer that Sam made, but Sam
Yeah.
doesn't remember this. So Sam remembers like nothing. He doesn't remember his last
Your
name.
computer is telling you that you are going to be reincarnated. I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting.
And then one of the bigger things is that was not consistent between episode 1 and episode 2 at all was I have two major qualms with this show. The premise of the show does not make sense. Correcting a wrong to leap back in time potentially to go home doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. There's no like right and wrong and morality in science, right?
Right. There is no morality
Right.
in science.
So the Lord is somehow involved.
Yes. So
That's what we've learned.
yeah. So God is the one controlling this experiment.
And so Sam's in purgatory.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, fuck. What if he's just dead?
And then
Oh, he was Bruce Willis the whole time?
and then the other thing that doesn't make any sense is Al very specifically stated in the first episode that he is not allowed to tell Sam things that Sam does not remember. And then
Yeah, which I liked that.
which would have made sense.
Yeah.
Technically, he's like, "Oh, I can't tell you things, maybe because it might mess the timeline up or something." But two things about that is, number one, he's completely changing the timeline to leap. He has to fully change the timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this first episode, two people that were supposed to be dead survived. The dad and the baby, and then he like won a baseball game in the second episode. I guess we'll get to that. But then
maybe it's like there's several time travel-y shows though that's like you can change things, and as long as it's not like a set in history thing, you can change it, and maybe those people who live don't go on to actually add to history or subtract.
and that's fine. But that's not even the part that that bugs me. But that wasn't the part about that bugs me. Is the fact that in the first episode he specifically said, "I cannot tell you things that you don't know." And then in the second episode, he proceeds to explain almost everything to him that he didn't know.
Yeah.
Al explained it to Sam. And it's like, wait a minute. You told us a rule in the first episode.
Yeah.
And then you didn't follow the rule.
I mean, in the first episode, though, it's all new. We don't really know. We don't want to like tell you anything. And then maybe by 2, Ziggy has decided, okay, actually, we can let him know a couple things. We can let him know his last name.
Because at that point, they also thought that he needed to break like Mach 3 in order to get back, and then they were wrong about that.
Well, it makes sense if it was wrong about that, because that part is like, if you're going with the do a good deed or something like that, or do something, they're like, we think you got to do something that didn't happen, so we think it's breaking the sound barrier or Mach 3, and we were wrong. It was save a baby.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm just saying, if after that first thing they're like, oh, we're wrong, they're like, well, okay, let's just tell you everything and we can figure this out together.
Well, there's at
turns
least one or two sentences then in the second episode they could have like said,
right,
hey, maybe we don't quite understand this. I'm gonna now start filling you in. Easy, done. But they didn't do that. And this is why TV back then is so much different than TV now.
Yeah, I was thinking like that wouldn't happen in like a streamed show now. They would have held to that, and like he would have slowly figured that stuff out.
If they would have made rules like that, on a Netflix show that just came out, and then they immediately changed them without like an explanation in the second episode. The internet would have been like, what the fuck? This show is pointless.
Yeah.
So just tell him what to do.
Yeah. Why is there even problem solving? Just tell them what to do.
Yeah.
So those are my two problems with the show. I think it is very convenient that I mean, memory loss, that could happen. Who knows what happens when you time travel?
Yeah, it's weird.
And then it's very convenient that Sam happens to have 6 doctorates.
6 doctorates?
Yeah, that's what they said.
That's what Al said.
That's what Al said.
Hmm.
Because he's like, I'm a
that's why he
medical
can-
doctor. And he's like, you actually
Yeah.
have 6 doctorates.
Because he remembered the stuff about his wife who freaked out because she thought her husband had blown apart in this plane crash, but he actually made it. But it induced her labor 9 weeks early.
Hmm.
And then she was like going to die. And so then he remembered this medical knowledge. Then he thinks, oh, I must be a medical doctor.
So is he a doctor of dancing also?
yeah, dancing. Yeah, doctorate of Dancing with the Stars.
that was
'Cause
his 4th doctorate.
There's a scene in the first episode where he's like dancing with the guy's wife, and she's like, "Oh, you've never danced before. You have 2 left feet." And he's like, "I fucking dance now."
I mean, do you dance, Joe?
Yeah, all the time.
Do you have a doctorate in it?
No. But
Point. Point me.
I did. I have watched the Macarena video on repeat, and I got that pretty much locked down.
How many times? 10,000 hours? That makes you a master of the Macarena.
10,000 hours of Macarena.
According to some
You
asshole.
can get it down.
All right. That's okay. I'm just gonna leave that. Should I read episode 2?
Yeah. Read episode 2.
Okay. So Genesis part 2, September 13th, 1956, which is kind of a red herring a little bit. As Tom Stratton, edit that out.
You can do it. I'm not
Sam comforts his wife, well, Tom's wife, and prevents her from having a premature birth that we just talked about. Oops. This is what he was sent to do, allowing him to leap home, he hopes. But instead of, emphasis mine, but instead of leaping home, he leaps into Tim Fox, a minor league baseball player in Texas at the end of the 1968 season.
What if he only leaps into people's names with their first name with a T? Tim, Tom, Tammy.
Plausible.
Hmm.
There's a connection there.
Tamara? Is he gonna leap into a sister?
Tia
Remember
and
that show?
Tia and Tamara. One episode's Tia, another one's Tamara.
Okay, in the middle of this minor league game, as Tim Fox, he must make the winning play in order to leap further, aided by a crap ton of errors that probably wouldn't happen. Tim Fox, after a dropped third strike on a wild pitch, rounds the bases for the winning score, and Sam leaps into Dr. Gerald Bryant.
We didn't know that.
Nope. As a college professor in the middle of a class.
Yeah, we just saw him leap into a college
For
professor.
5 whole seconds, and he dropped his pipe out of his mouth.
The very beginning of
It
this,
didn't even land. Credits rolled.
the very beginning of part 2 of Genesis, like explained like Ziggy's a computer and he leapt back in time. And here's a couple details that we didn't say in part 1 and we didn't even say in part 2, but you just need to know these things.
Oh,
now.
and like the opening credits
Yeah.
part. Yeah.
It was like let me explain this show to you for
Yep.
people that don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
Yep.
Also,
He's
how does
leaping
winning
around.
a minor league baseball game get you to correct a pass wrong and
Set
then
things
travel in time?
Made people feel good for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
I need to like change one of my predictions because there's some
Yeah.
tomfoolery
In
going
the
on.
first episode, he saved 2 lives. The second episode, he won a baseball game.
There is a
Oh,
very
man.
low bar into what's a good deed for this show.
Yeah. Like episode 3, like holds open the door for someone.
If they would have showed like Tim Fox committed suicide after losing that
Oh,
game,
God.
like they would have been
Whoa,
like,
then
yeah,
he would have saved
he would have
life.
saved another life.
And the coach was like, I'm retiring after this.
2
This is
lives.
the end of the season.
2 lives.
I'm going to commit suicide if we don't win
I'm
this
going to
game.
murder suicide this.
That's a hard show to
Yeah,
write.
also, this whole place is rigged to blow if we don't win.
That's a hard show to write. You got to save 2 lives and then you can go back. You can time travel again.
Yeah, minimum of 2.
Minimum of 2 lives.
Huh.
Can you point a gun at someone and decide not to
Technically,
shoot
he
them
saved
and therefore
3
save
in
their
the
life?
first episode, right?
Who?
himself because
Sure.
he didn't blow up, and then his wife and a baby.
Well, we didn't know. I mean, we don't know whether his wife would have died.
Eh,
You think the little baby's gonna take her with her? But whatever.
yeah, it was the 50s, man. People died all the time.
I mean, it was 50. It was 50-50 when that lady was gonna die in regular
She was just
labor
gonna-
anyway.
She was just gonna die anyway.
So, I don't know. I didn't. Even though that I'm a little like, I don't get these rules. I'm not trekking with these rules.
Sure.
I'm not mad about this show
Yeah,
yet.
Yeah, that's fine.
it's got some fun sci-fi going on. Admiral Al's kind of kooky, and he's got his stogie, and he's womanizing, and he's got his
Yeah.
weird futuristic coats.
It might have taken a little bit long in the first episode for us to at least like really understand what was like the premise of the show, technically, you know. And for I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it was a 2-parter same night episode, but still,
Mhm.
it's kind of like you're taking a while here.
They
What am I
also-
watching?
They also did explain that he's only gonna leap to places in time that are within his like lifetime.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
because he held up a string that says like, "Here's where you were born and here's where you died," and if you tie it together and you bounce around in there, you're bouncing around just like different times in your lifeline.
Oh, okay. I didn't really
Yeah, so he was
understand why he was
born
telling
in
him
the
that, but that makes
50s.
sense now.
So that just means that like he's never gonna go back to like medieval times, like we were saying.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah, kind of limits where he's going.
Also, I think it makes
feel
the
like-
budget a little bit cheaper because everything can be kind
Yeah,
of.
present day.
I feel like I remember him going back further
I don't
in
know.
this show.
I mean,
Maybe they expand. I
they-
mean,
they
maybe they
changed-
changed the
changed
rules
again.
Episode 3.
they changed the rules from episode 1 to 2. Why wouldn't they change the rules from season 1 to 3? You know.
Well, maybe I'm thinking maybe he can, because he can probably travel all over the world within his timeline. So I might be thinking of just like he's somewhere else and it feels like it's old timey, but it's just a different part of the
Just
world.
travels to a third world country
Just-
where it's medieval times.
God, travels into
Hmm.
Frasier, and you think it's like the 1500s.
Well, then he's just confused because it's very obviously not the 1500s. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if anything, he would travel to Boston, right? He traveled to Cheers because it's the 80s.
That'd be great if he just started showing up in other TV shows instead of.
Think he's insane
Times.
elsewhere at some point?
I mean, yeah, he's probably for sure in that universe. I'll look it up.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. What else you guys got?
I liked how the show started in the pilot. I was digging this weird Admiral L's in his like DeLorean or whatever, picking up some lady from the 50s with like lit heels.
She had light up
She had
heels. She had light up
illuminating
earrings.
Mhm.
stuff.
He had a
She's
crazy
got
car.
a flat.
And he was spitting some game.
Yeah, he had cheesy pickup lines.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they were driving, like the sky was it looked like the northern lights was happening, and she's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And he's like, nothing." And then like telecommunicating through his like car to the like lab, like, "Hey, is everything cool?" They're like, "No, Sam's wigging out. He's in the
Sam's out.
accelerator. He's leaping." And he just looked like he was like that dude from the stereo. What's the you know the weird band? What's the band with like a million people in it?
Polyphonic Spree.
He looked like the dude from Polyphonic.
Oh no, you mean
Like he's
Slipknot?
just kind of wigging out.
Slipknot.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He was one of the drummers.
Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
You're just
He
saying.
was- He's just freaking out.
If you could leap anywhere, where would you leap?
Does it have to be within my lifetime?
Yeah.
Because it's the rules, right?
Those are the rules for now.
But can I go forward in time?
Well, we don't know how long. You could die tomorrow.
Yeah. Who knows?
That's why I want to go forward. In
I
time.
could. I could
I wanna
kill
know.
you tomorrow. What?
I would actually like to go November 8th, 2020.
You just want to see what happens.
Yeah, I just want to know, man.
Not even gonna do a good deed or anything.
Nah.
You could have used this to stop
I mean,
9/11.
I guess it depends on who wins. I could do some deeds.
The answer is stop 9/11, right? You got to go back and stop 9/11.
Yeah, that's the only answer.
I don't know if you can do that though in like a 45-minute episode.
Oh no, you would need to go back probably to several different times that like year at least.
And you at least need to like make friends with like Keanu Reeves or Denzel Washington to help you save 9/11.
Yeah, you need
right?
a team. You need like the full like Expendables.
You could probably, you could probably save one plane if you ended up on that plane, and
Yeah,
like
if
you
you-
could like swat out a box cutter out of someone's hands.
Do you remember stuff when you leap though? Because like I ain't remembering that flight number.
It better be my like third leap. So like Al's already explained everything to me.
Just explain some stuff. Sure.
So, all right. Okay, it is official. This show is pretty much sort of like Sliders. He's trying to get home. Sliders ripped this show off, not the other way around.
I assume Sliders
Yeah.
is spelled with a Y.
No.
Cool.
But the intro's like them going through a wormhole, and then it goes Sliders, which is pretty great. We're gonna watch Sliders at some point in this show,
Cool.
in this
I'm
podcast.
excited.
Should we get to predicts?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Did we write them?
I wrote some things.
We watched an hour and a half worth of TV just now. We better.
My brain's melting.
They did actually get through a lot of stuff, which I was surprised. But I guess it's an older show. I feel like shows now take a little longer to get through plot because they can afford to, because they drop 13 episodes at a time.
I mean, if this was an HBO show, he'd still be almost about to like fly a Mach
Yeah.
3 plane.
like he never would have called his like dead dad in the second episode
no, that would not have happened in
in
a show
today
today.
in 2019.
That would have been like the finale.
right.
It
That'd
actually
be a big reveal that he does that.
It actually probably messed up my first prediction that I kept, which is
Ooh.
he takes on a member of his own family. So like
Oh.
on?
he
Like he leaps into somebody?
Leaps into what's the term when he becomes them?
I think it leap. I could say leap.
He leaps into?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think he leaps into someone. I wrote dad
Oh, that'd be weird.
right away, but I think but I mean, I actually
Like
still-
mom's,
I
like
still-
she's kind of like in the mood, and you're like, oh god.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Deal
even
with it.
worse, you leap
Do
into
your
the
good
mom.
deed.
He leap into the mom. I wonder if he leaps into ladies.
What if you leap into the
think he
dad
does.
before you're born? Oh no, it's within your lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think he leaps into a member of his own family.
Okay.
I think they destroy the time machine.
Okay.
I think they get rid of it.
Mm.
Make it
Okay.
unusable. I fear there is a clip show.
I
Mm.
think that too.
And I think
Mm.
Sam saves the world from a nuclear holocaust.
Cool.
That's the good
It's a
deed.
good deed.
That's his
That
good
is
deed.
so much more of a good deed than any of the things that we saw.
Winning a baseball game.
He saves 2
Definitely that, yeah.
billion people. Those are mine.
I have.
Hmm.
I think that Sam leaps into Al, like 1 year, like 1 year before the present time. So like right
Oh.
before they like start getting the machine ready.
Oh, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
So
Before you
does
keep going,
Al still hologram himself to himself?
I think so.
oh, that'd be fun. Before you keep going, every time now that we keep saying he leaps into somebody, I
Mhm.
keep thinking of that scene from The Matrix where Neo jumps into Agent Smith,
Mhm.
like right at the end,
Nice.
and then he
him.
like explodes him. That's what I keep thinking about.
And then
The
he
Matrix
flexes.
is so awesome.
It's tight.
Yeah, and then he flexes. Matrix is so
He
good.
flexes and the
Dope.
Matrix flexes with him.
That's some
Man.
baller shit right
Matrix 1.
there. Good, very good.
What's Trinity's name?
Trinity.
Trinity.
No, that
Carrie
that
Ann Moss.
actress. Carrie Ann, she's super underrated. I think.
She's great. But everything
Jessica
she's ever
Jones.
been in forever, I said, "Yo, Trinity's in this."
Yeah, that's also true.
Yo, it's Trin. Quantum Leap. I think that okay, so we're in almost present time, right? Like a year before present time. I think Sam's dad is now alive because of things that Sam's has changed. I think that we see at least one dinosaur.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever wanted in
Ooh,
every
like-
TV show I've ever seen.
Oh man, it's gonna be like a clip, isn't there, with one dino?
Yeah, just one dino. And then I think at the end, Sam travels deep into the future.
Ooh, deep.
because they like fixed
How
the
deep?
machine and now
November
he can
8th,
go.
Galaxy
2020.
far, far away.
Travels to November 8th, 2020.
Okay, election day is November 7th, right?
You wanted to go the day after election.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Got it.
Why? To
It's
see how
the
to see
7th,
how
right?
bad it got?
No, just to.
Why don't you go to November 7th and rig the election? That's a good deed.
Everyone else is already rigging the election. I don't. How am I gonna stop them?
Putin for president. Am I right?
How am I gonna stop Putin? Unless I leap into Putin.
Did you see
Ooh, twist?
Did you see Trump
Which
sitting
would be
next to Putin and some
disgusting.
guy was like, "Yo, Russia's not gonna meddle,
Yeah, and they
right?"
just kinda
and,
giggled
and
about
Trump
it.
looked at Putin and said, "Yo, don't meddle." Wink. Like it was like
Winked.
that's
It's pretty messed up.
it's pretty messed up.
I did see that. It was.
I don't care
awful.
who it would have been.
Not
that would have been
handled
messed
well.
up.
And then Putin slaps him. Be quiet. You're
Comrade.
unleashing the plans.
It'd be funny if they just zoom in and Vlad is just sweating. Like, oh god, just stuttering. Okay, number 1. I think Sam leaps home in this last.
Really? You think he just full on gets home?
I think. Wait, listen. That's prediction 1. Prediction 2. Doesn't remember who he is.
Oh no.
Thinks his name is Tom
And those
Stratton.
are separate predictions, but I hope that they go hand in hand. Number 3. Admiral Al dies.
Why would you wish that on Al?
No. They ain't
don't-
killing no one.
Who's gonna love the ladies if
I don't-
Al's dead?
Oh god, so gross. Number 4. Also, do you think he's talking a big game?
You think
he's like
just
a little old dude?
You
He
think he's
smells
just
like
lying
smoke all
about
the
banging all these
time.
girls?
I mean, I don't know.
I feel like if you're talking about it that much, you're probably lying.
Right? Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, he probably said what he said, like three or four girls' names in these like 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would
He
probably
said he
say.
banged a chick in like a file cabinet room or something.
Mm-hmm.
I bet it's like the rule of 3s. He like banged 1, but he added 3, and so you just make it. So
That's the rule of 3s?
That's the rule.
no, I just made that up.
I've been married 3 times.
Nice.
Prediction number 4. He still has to set something right in this last episode.
Oh, so like he gets home, but then he still has to like correct present day stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And then
know,
after
man,
he
but...
corrects it, then he gets bounced somewhere else.
Oh, shit, no. Shouldn't have changed that.
He get the catches when he gets home. He has to be
He just
evil.
can't help
to
it
stay
anymore
home.
to like see something wrong. Do
Sam,
something about it.
You're home, but you must remain evil, or else you'll get leapt back somewhere else. I'm into it. Cool. Well, let's watch this last episode, eh?
When in a quantum leap.
It's called Mirror Image.
Oh.
Oh.
But they-
Clones.
They said, well, they said
Clone
it.
Wars.
They said that in the very first episode. They
Is that
said,
mirror image?
yeah, he's a mirror image of the person to the other people. It's what
Okay, yeah.
it's how Al explained to him why everyone like doesn't go like, who are you? He's like,
Yeah.
to them, you're a mirror image of the person they know.
Yeah.
So
So wait, question.
yeah,
Before I move on. Are these people leaping into Sam's body in present time? Is present time because it's just happening?
well, they
'cause
said
Al
they're
is there.
they said they're there. They're taking Sam's place in present time.
They
Yeah,
are
so he must
taking
be leaping
Sam's
into his
place.
body. Yeah.
What the hell are they doing to his body?
I think. Well, they know.
Hanging out in the future.
They know
I
because
think
they
they're
got
just-
like Sam in like a lab, and these people are waking up in his body, and they're like, chill.
And they're just like, yo, sit in this chair and wait till
Instant
this dude gets you
sedative.
home.
Yeah, here's a crossword.
Yeah,
Chill out.
Yeah.
What year are you from? Yeah, that's what year this is.
yeah,
It's
for
not
sure.
weird.
Totally. Nothing's weird. Shut up. Your baby's going to be born. You won't die in a plane crash.
Just
Cool.
Show him like a little piece of technology and to entertain him. He's like, here's a Tamagotchi.
Oh, man.
He's like, holy shit.
A Tamagotchi
Days.
would take what somebody from 1958 would be amazed with a Tamagotchi for at least a week.
I have to feed it.
Oh God, no.
Here's Pokemon Blue. If you can get 150, you can go to
Yeah.
Burger King. You know, was Burger King around?
You're going to love it.
I
All right.
don't know.
Well, we're going. We're gonna see you after the finale of Quantum Leap called
Do it.
Mirror Image. See you then. And we're back. We did
leaped
it.
back.
We leapt back into your ear
Back
holes.
into time.
And boy, did I not understand what
We're
happened.
here to fix your problems.
Joe tried to go to bed. Me and Jimmy were confused. Pete the cat ate dinner.
Listen, when it gets
Oh,
hot,
did he?
it gets
Nice.
sleepy.
It
It
is.
got sleepy in there.
It is. Let's
it's
before we
pretty
get
sleepy here.
before we get into the episode, let's bring everyone into our world where it's Minnesota,
And it's
400
humid
degrees.
as balls.
1,000 degree humidity without raining somehow,
1,000% humidity.
and it is. We are in a not central arid, cool apartment
Mm-hmm.
because I live like a poor person.
We're going to have fans on to keep up the sound quality. We're doing it for you, listeners.
Yeah, and the room we record in doesn't have a fan in it, and
Just
boy,
a vacuum in here.
does this room get warm.
Just full of our own smells.
7 inches from a
Sweats.
midday sun.
Hot sun. You got a write up for us, Jimmy?
Yeah. Okay, so this is the finale of Quantum Leap. Mirror Image, August 8, 1953. Sam leaps into a bar with a bartender that's more than he appears. When Sam looks into a mirror, he sees his own reflection. In the future, they realize that Sam has leapt into himself, and they search history for Sam. Sam learns more about Quantum Leap and who's responsible for his leaps. Before he takes his next leap, he realizes he must correct something that could affect his personal history. And I don't understand that part.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, so the whole episode is like a tongue twister.
Like, yeah, it's a mystery. Like,
This
ooh,
is
what's going on?
It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was pretty intriguing.
And he meets a lot of people that apparently he has run into in his travels, but they're all different people in this time period.
Yeah.
I would say world
That's broken.
Slap your phone on the ground, Jimmy. Do it.
And there's a lot of like weird coincidences. Like there's people whose names that he knows, but like they're different people.
But and then
He meets a Gushy who's a different Gushy than the one he knows.
yeah, they're in a bar called Al's Place.
Yeah, something like that.
And then the bartender of said bar obviously knows more than he's letting on right away.
And is also Weird Ernie from episode 1.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
which is fun. And then it kind of pans out that he's like, wait a minute, you know all this stuff. Talk to me. So Sam and the bartender, whose name is Al,
Right.
they talk. And I mean, it's mildly ambiguous what or who this bartender Al is.
Yeah. Sam seems to think he's God or fate or something.
What do you guys think he is?
Mental projection.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense to me that all of these people who are people from Sam's like world and like that he knows, but they're all in different bodies and stuff, that he is sort of projecting this. This is on the day that he's born, so he's leapt into some kind of weirdness already.
He
That
like
is as far back as he can go.
yeah, because he potentially like leapt into this day like the minute he was born. That's when he
Yeah,
like,
right.
walked into the bar.
That's right. This like the second he walked in the door is basically the minute he was born.
I mean,
Something was already going weird there.
in a fun way, I want Al the bartender to be the devil.
Yeah.
Wasn't God, but the devil.
I like that.
Because they're like, what do you?
The devil and God are raging.
Because he keeps going. Al the bartender is like, what do you want? Where do you want to go, Sam? And Sam's like, I just want to go home. And he's like, but can you? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then in the end, it was like Sam never got home.
Yeah.
That's some fucked up devil shit right there.
That's why I think that's why I felt like what Al was saying to Sam was that this is all in your head a little bit. Like you have actually a lot of control over this, and you won't come to terms with how much control that you have.
Which sounds like the game of the devil to me.
Yeah, okay, sure. If you want. I'll play that game. But he's like, because then he also says, like, do you want to go home? And he's like,
yeah, I fucking do.
he keeps saying that he does.
He was like crying. He literally had tears running down his eyes when they were like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to go home.
Yeah, but he also, he's just like, this is why I think it's all like internal, because Al is like walking him through his own motivation for starting the project, which is something that you would know subconsciously, right? You'd remember, oh, I started because I wanted to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, that's what you have to do to get to the next spot.
Yeah. And he said something about, like, a lot of times before you go on your, like, next hardest journey. I forgot what metaphor he used. But he said something about, like, you have to, like, take a break before you go on, like, your, like, hardest dive.
Yeah, it's like if you entered the priesthood and then you take a sabbatical.
That was it. It was a priest metaphor.
And
he could have said sabbatical for so many other things.
And wouldn't the devil talk about a priesthood?
He's talking about how priests get sent to different parishes, but sometimes they take a sabbatical.
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
I assume that the writers of the show wanted Al to be like God.
Yeah.
Or at least an angel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like a good angel.
Okay.
That's what I assume that he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But man,
that would make sense with like the morality of like you got to go fix people's lives.
But that's why it's great that it should be the devil.
Oh,
because
really fucking shit up.
Because the devil is essentially just terrorizing Sam and never letting him ever go home under the guise of that he has to go around and help people. But really, potentially nothing's even getting done.
Yeah.
Because this could all be fake.
Because he's just winning baseball games.
Yeah.
You're going to save the world by getting a home run.
And like Sam in all reality will never he just doesn't seem like, even though he's going to do good, technically, he never seems like he's ever actually going to be happy unless he gets home.
He's stuck in a time warp.
So that's why I want it to be the devil.
You got to figure at some point he's got to like warp to a time that's like what my prediction was a year before, like a year before he's like about to go leap. So at that point he could just like, if he really wants to chill back in his normal timeline, he could leap into someone else and just sort of hang out there for a while.
Yeah. I mean, you think. I mean,
like it's not exactly like being home, but like at least you're back in the 80s or whatever. And you can go have a Coke.
Like you do.
Like you do.
I'm finally
Listen
back.
to your
I will have a
REM
soda.
records.
Soda, please.
Your REO Speedwagon records. So apparently at some point Sam remembers or figures out that he steps into the thing when he does, not just on a whim, but because Al is actually overseeing the project because he works for the government and they're getting funding from the government and they're going to pull funding. And so Sam's like, it's now or never, and he jumps in.
Gotcha.
And that's who Al is. He's actually like works for the government.
So
as
Al's
a part
like
of this project.
Al's like a G-man?
Yeah. It's all
Sure.
a government
A
project.
G-man.
I read about there was a like rumored alternate ending for the show, but like people weren't sure if it existed. And somebody, like a fan, just like bought a bunch of like found footage essentially of Quantum Leap that was just in the negatives. Like she like bought it on eBay and then she like looked at the negatives, and from what she can tell, it looks like it's a scene in the future with Al and his wife who Sam talked to.
Maybe
at the end
Beth?
of this. Beth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end of this one, Sam is talking to Beth and telling her that like Al is alive. And then it said in like the post credits that like, oh, Beth never remarried and her and Al like had 4 daughters together, blah blah blah.
Right. And then the picture of Al quantum leaped
out of there.
Yeah.
So, but in the negatives, it looked like there's an extra scene where old Al is talking to old Beth, and they're talking about like trying to go find Sam, and then so like Al goes and leaps to go try to find him.
Ooh.
Like it might have been like a setup for a potential season 6
I mean,
yeah, or a spinoff
Well,
at
or
least.
a movie.
well, I mean, just in general, like, I mean, maybe that Stoppa thing, like Al's like uncle or whoever, was like a red herring kind of thing, but it was like somebody else in this last episode also leaped,
It was a leaper, yeah,
and it was like, wait a minute, is that like a fake leap? Was that?
because no one took his place. It was
This
weird.
is just the Lost of 1989 right now. Like more questions than answers. Very interesting. I liked it. I liked this last episode, and it made me go like, "Who's Beth and what's up with Al?"
Yeah,
It had
What's
a
going on
very
with Al?
it had a very Twin Peaks vibe, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
It was because it was weird as shit.
Twin Leaps.
Have you ever seen? Yeah, have you seen Twin Leaps?
No, I've not. I've played the video game Alan Wake though.
Quantum
it's similar.
Peaks.
Huh. Interesting.
Alan Wake is a writer, and he shines light on ghosts and kills them with a flashlight.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
That's the premise. Oh.
I mean, essentially,
Is that like a
he's like in a he's like
PS2 or what?
Xbox 360.
Xbox
Nice.
360.
He's like a writer, and I think he gets like teleported into his like own writing world somehow, kind of thing.
Gets sucked into his own video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like in a world of his own creation, but he doesn't get
Sure.
it. And then you figure it out, and then that's the twist. And Stephen King bullshit.
I don't
No,
remember.
Stephen King has nothing to do with it.
I don't remember what they exactly.
But that's
figured
something
out.
that he
but
would
he,
do.
but he is the master of horror. So
Horror master, if
know
you
it.
will. There was a couple other fun things. One being that Bulldog was in this.
hell yeah.
Big fans of Frasier on
Part of
this
the
pod.
Frasierverse
I don't know if you guys
shows.
have heard us talk about Frasier in this podcast before.
If you've ever heard of the show Frasier, it's because you've listened to this podcast. Now he played a character named Mutta, and from what I could tell, he was basically Bulldog who worked in a coal mine.
Yeah, he was just coal mine Bulldog. It was just before. It was
Dan Butler is that guy's name.
It was before Bulldog got a job at a radio station in Seattle. When he before he moved from Pennsylvania to Seattle.
Yeah, he was done in the
when
mines.
did this air? When did the finale air?
1993.
Yeah.
So like just before maybe Frasier?
Frasier might have been 90.
No, Frasier would have been going, wouldn't it?
92 or 90,
Half?
92 to 94.
Maybe they filmed it while he was off a week.
I mean, he didn't do a whole lot, but he had to be around.
First episode, September 1993.
And this
Of
was
Frasier.
September
So it was probably filmed.
22nd. No, wait. This ended in May of 1993.
Yeah.
So it was probably filmed before Frasier started.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
They saw this. They
Dang,
saw this
Bulldog,
episode
good
and they
job.
said,
That's
"We
our
need
guy.
this guy."
That's our bulldog.
That's our
Bulldog. Look at him. That's Bulldog. He was great. He was great in this episode.
Classic Bulldog.
He kind of stole the show from some parts. There was some. I mean, you don't expect like amazing acting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But there are but like Al, the bartender guy, is pretty like straight faced.
That was
Not
great.
super like. That guy's in a lot of stuff
That
too. His
God-
IMDb is
that-
long.
That God Angel
extensive.
bartender was
He's in Time Cop. Also, oh man, I'm gonna have to look this up because I forgot it because it's two people's names. But it was a long airing show.
Will and Grace.
Bruce McGill is that guy's name, listeners. Who's the bartender, Al. And weird, what was it?
Weird Ernie.
Weird Bert and Ernie.
he played.
He's still in stuff now.
He played both.
But he was in a show called Rizzoli and Isles.
You're asking us a question, but you're reading it
Have
off
you heard
your
this?
phone from across the room.
TNT Rizzoli. It's gotta. It's Italian.
You
My
talking
wife,
about
my wife will
Franklin
murder
and
me if she
Bash?
hears that. Rizzoli and Isles. 105 episodes, 6 seasons on TNT. Looks
They know
great.
drama.
Stay tuned next week when it's my turn to pick the show and we watch Rizzoli and Isles. No, I don't know.
I'm
I don't know
gone.
who's on the
I'm
next show.
sick next week.
Oh, shit.
People listening just deleted their entire Stitcher app.
I'm sure it's great.
Just threw their phones down a mine shaft.
Next to Tushy
Coal
and
mine
Pete.
shaft. The subtitle is Killer Instincts.
I don't know what that's about.
Great video game on Nintendo 64.
Could
Oh,
not tell
man.
you. I'm sure it's great.
I only wrote one note essentially in the last episode notes in our page, and I wrote "God did it."
Hmm.
The
There was-
Lord.
there was
Who's-
full
who's
on-
God though?
There was one woman in this episode. Right at the end, it was Beth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ziggy's
That
a
was
woman.
it.
I mean, in the first episodes, there was only a lot of like just pregnant pilot wives.
Yeah, talking about boobs.
Yeah,
I
there
would
were-
say if you're a female listening to this podcast, don't watch this show.
I bet there's episodes
This
where
is a
he
misogynistic show.
leaps into women, right?
Oh, for sure.
And he's gonna act like a lady.
There's one, in the opening credit scene where he's
wearing
in a
makeup and
dress.
stuff.
I hope he has consent first.
You'd hope you'd think statistically there's got to be several of those, and also just several that he's just not just a white male.
I read in the Wikipedia or maybe IMDb that they had an idea about him like leaping into a baby, but they never got to it.
How does the baby complete a good deed?
Yeah, baby does a good deed and saves the world.
Interesting. Could be a
Saves
toddler.
life.
He takes a smaller shit that day. I don't know.
You're
Trying to
welcome, Mom. I didn't pee in your face.
Yeah, exactly. So what are you doing, Joe? You watching all this show?
I'm gonna read a lot of Wikipedia because I bet they do some weird stuff.
It
I
is.
want to know what the
It
weird
is
stuff
curious. I'm sorry. I have the squeakiest chair in the world.
Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
man.
just keep squeaking.
Apologize,
That's
podcast
so
listeners.
unprofessional.
I know.
Our listeners expect WD-40'd office chairs.
Well, maybe they'll get it next week unless I forget,
All right.
which is probable. It's so loud. It's so loud. I shouldn't have brought attention to it.
And it's worse now that
Yeah,
you said it.
it's terrible.
I would like to watch the show, but I've always been like, man, I want to watch this show. However, watching it on Amazon with ads does complicate things. Because watching an hour-long show, not in like 43 minutes now,
Yeah.
that we're just accustomed to that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's one.
Man.
I feel like there's one thing that we're pampered as compared to our forefathers,
Mm-hmm.
and that is
Just the one.
one thing
Name
that
the one thing.
that I think we're allowed to be pampered on, and one thing we're allowed to be annoyed at when it happens
Okay.
is watching things without ads,
Mm-hmm.
because we have become like
Which one is this? Is this
We're-
are we
but it's
for
all-
or against?
It's all of it. We should all be. We should be a. We should.
Who
We
is
are.
this versus?
We should be allowed to watch things without ads. We should expect to watch things without ads, and when ads appear, we should rightfully be annoyed and maybe not want to continue watching something. And,
Because we give so much money to apps and things.
well, I mean, and yeah, I'm saying if
What's
you're
the
watching it
reason?
for free, then expect an ad.
Yeah.
But I just think there's like subscription services exist now.
Yeah.
And
you're
so-
already paying for it.
And like I gladly pay like $12 and $15 or whatever for Netflix to not have ads, and
Mhm.
like I don't even have ads. I pay for like YouTube Prime
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
whatever it is, YouTube Red. I don't forget whatever it's
Red,
called.
Yeah.
yeah.
But because it's like
Amazon Prime.
Google Prime's my Google Play is
Yeah.
my like music thing, and
Yeah.
I get that with YouTube. So when I like
Nice.
watch YouTube on someone else's like computer randomly or something, and an ad pops up, I like get I
Just
get like
freak out.
I like freak out a little bit.
No.
I internally
Just slap the
I
laptop
internally
after.
in general get the maddest that day that I
It's like
was.
5 seconds you can skip.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's
Just wait
10 and it
Sometimes.
says it'll play after
Or
this.
if you're watching like a 15-minute video, then there's like
Less
there's
than
a mid-roll,
90-second
a fucking mid-roll.
Amazon ads.
I'm just saying, like, I'm like, we got it.
Yeah.
Based on that, we got it good.
Yeah.
No
Oh,
ads.
yeah.
And I think anyone bitching about ads is in the right.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a service they pay for.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
you know, it's a service that I pay for. Is I get Blue Apron every month, and
Wait, this is not an ad. What are you doing?
Is this just a pod commercial now? Because we're not
No.
sponsored yet.
No.
smooth
This is
transition.
knowledge.
my
into
commercial
ad roll.
was
I did appreciate your Blue Apron joke last week, so Keeping it around, I think, is
Just keep it every week.
They're never gonna pay us money.
Blue Apron's not a thing anymore, right? Like they went
Oh,
under
for
once Amazon bought Whole Foods, right?
Blue Apron's totally a thing. What are you talking about?
Is
Oh,
it?
Blue Apron and HelloFresh and all those.
Stop saying their names. They're never gonna pay us money.
They're all garbage
I
brands.
would try it.
They're all terrible. They're
My
terrible.
wife did it once.
Not one of them
And I
has
bet
chicken
she-
nuggets.
And I bet you hated it. Pay us money.
No, it was pretty tasty.
God damn it, Jimmy. You're not helping.
Too much packaging though. It just you kind of destroying the rainforest.
I'm gonna have to send Sam Beckett back in time to shut your mouth.
You know what's
Blue
a bummer
Apron.
about this show though that
Hmm.
makes me
Ooh.
less interested than when we started is that he can only leap into places that are within his lifeline. So like he's not gonna go
Yeah, I
see
didn't remember
dinosaurs.
that.
And he's
Didn't
not
remember that
gonna
at
go
all.
like leap into the Wild West or anything.
I am bummed about that, but I
It
like
really limits your.
I like that they had a rule,
Mm-hmm.
and I like they did that.
Sure.
And I mean,
You like that they followed at least one of
they
the
at least
rules
followed
that
one
they made.
well, hey, if that Al the bartender guy was God, it at least then now makes sense why he can only leap after he does a good deed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
that at least, but that's 4.5 years, 5 seasons until you tell me the fucking reason why you like that makes any sense.
There's
That's
some
the
intelligent
thing.
power that has morality that's controlling this thing,
Right. Which
and also keeping him prisoner.
Which, I mean, at least, I guess, who's also keeping him fully imprisoned.
Keep leaping, boy.
And he never returned home.
Yeah, that's sad.
We got that in some text at the very end.
Sam never
That was the
returned home.
last thing we saw. If you were a fan of this show and that was the last thing you saw, like, well, fuck.
I like a good sad ending sometimes, though.
Well, for sure, I'm emo as hell. So
All right, let's go over these predicts, shall we?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I got 0. He becomes a member of his family. No.
No,
he became himself.
He became
that was a
himself.
weird self leap.
Yeah, unfortunately. They destroy the time machine.
No.
No, because apparently he uses it until he dies. Clip show. I'm gonna say no, for myself.
Yeah, no.
because
Yeah.
they use clips, but it wasn't in
Yeah.
poor taste.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't in Felicity manner.
Sure.
I'll accept it. And Sam saves the world from a nuclear
0.25.
holocaust. No. So
okay.
I'm gonna give myself a big old bird's egg,
All right.
Cool.
which is worth 0 points.
Ah,
I had
because we hate birds on this show.
Avian flu, man. It's dangerous.
Sam
the
leaps
eggs?
into a year before the present and is inside Al. That's false. Sam's dad is alive. Unfortunately, false.
I mean, he was alive because it was the year of his birth. Like, you know.
Yes.
Somewhere. We didn't see him, but
We get one dinosaur. Didn't get that.
0
And
dinos.
Sam travels deep into the future. Didn't
Dino
get that either.
droppings?
So I got a big old dino egg.
Which is
Nice.
also worth 0 points.
Unfortunately.
Eggs are worth nothing until they're fertilized.
There was a thing I saw recently about Mario 2. Remember that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, watch it speed run the
And
other
it was
day.
a
Doki
birdie.
Birdo.
Someone
Talking about
someone
Birdo?
was saying something about like Birdo.
Birdo,
Is that what
yeah.
it is?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Birdie.
It's Birdo, huh?
Birdo.
Yeah.
About him like eating dino eggs.
Well, Birdo shoots eggs out of her mouth.
But she shoots eggs.
Mhm.
She
Yeah.
doesn't eat them.
She goes.
You throw them back at her.
Yeah, yeah.
and She
You kill her with her own eggs. She vomits up at you.
which seems rude. Hit her with her own eggs and murder her. But,
well,
you know,
she's trying to kill you first.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Just
If she would have
retaliate.
just let
Maybe
you,
she falls
if
unconscious.
she would have just
keeps
let
coming
you in
back,
that
so.
giant bird's mouth gate, then you would
Oh,
never have had
yeah.
a killer.
a lot of weird mouth stuff in that game.
A lot of yeah. Mario 2 mouth stuff.
Oh, weird mouth stuff. Okay, prediction
Doki
number
Doki mouth
1.
stuff.
Mario
He
3.
leaps home.
Hand stuff.
Incorrect. He leaps into Al's place somewhere, when.
1953.
53. We know that.
Nove-
we know the when.
November.
He
September
doesn't
8th.
remember who he is. He actually does know who he is. And he's himself. Number 3, Admiral Al dies. He did not. He apparently lived on and had kids and married a lady named Beth. I don't understand anything about that. So is Beth Sam's? Beth is Al's wife.
Yeah.
I read a little backstory on this, and it was like Al went to Vietnam, and his girlfriend thought that he died, so she like remarried. So that's why in that last scene, Sam's like, "No, Al's alive. Wait for him."
So Sam in the last scene goes back to during the Vietnam War, finds Beth,
Yeah.
and tells her that he's alive. Wait for him.
So do we know why a handsome young picture of Al quantum leaped then at the end?
I think it's just no, it doesn't make sense. Actually. Not at all.
It's like oh, he's alive. I don't need to see his picture.
right at the end, the show went,
I'll see his face.
why don't we break one more rule?
I'll see his face hole. Number 4, Sam still has to set something right. So I think that's a
Yeah, sure.
that's a thing that he apparently still had to do.
We all need to set something right.
I mean, according to the end credit, it seems like he set things right until he died somewhere in time.
Until he just set himself right out of the world.
Set himself right out of here.
Did you think he must have, because if he never returned home, he had to have died, or else he never aged while leaping, and then he's still leaping to this day.
Yeah, which means you could totally spin this off. You could totally reboot this.
And if he's still leaping to this day,
Yeah.
that was the devil.
Well,
for
he
sure.
did say something when this started. When he first looked in the mirror, he said, "Oh, it's me, but with like white hair."
Yeah,
So maybe he is aging.
yeah. I think he's aging.
yeah.
Because he hasn't
I
seen
like
what
that.
he looks like in a while.
I thought about that when he said that, and I was like, oh man, he has no idea like what his hair looks like. So his hair could have been like wild, but just movie magic. But it wasn't. So
That'd be funny if he's got white in his hair, wouldn't his hair have also just grown like crazy? Or are they cutting his hair? Is Ziggy the computer cutting his hair back home automatically every so often?
Pause, keeping him groomed.
Shaving him with Burma shave?
Yeah,
Call back to episode 1.
nice. All right, Jimmy, you win with 1. Good job.
Thanks.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to yet another episode, First and Last.
Yeah.
If you want to give Joe a compliment, give us show suggestions, devote yourself to the Pasta Pals. You can hit us up
The religion, the pasta pals.
at fndlpodcast@gmail, on the Twitters. We got a Facebook. We got a YouTube. Figure it out. You're smart.
You can do this.
You can do this.
We got you.
Do all those things. If you want to rate us a star, 1 or 5, fuck it. Who cares? Just give us a star. It don't matter. We appreciate you no matter what, and we will see you next week. Bye.
I'm going to go leap into a swimming pool.
Yeah, like a bathtub full of ice cubes.
It is.
Quantum leap right
It
into
is.
there.
It is accurate to say it is balls hot in here.
There's got to be someone like pretty close to here with the swimming pool, right?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty close to some lakes.
We're in a very rich area. Not this apartment building, but everywhere around us. Very rich. Yeah.
That's probably a pool.
Just going to slip
We're
into
just
a
gonna.
pool.
We'll just end this episode
Find
with
it.
the sounds of my chair.
Just rhythmic squeaking. Yeah, it's weird.
I think it's the heat.
Can you hear
The
it?
heat really.
You can hear it.
Oh,
It's
I can
picking
hear
up
it. I can
big
hear
time.
it. Yeah.
Do you think it's the heat?
Yeah. Melted away all the grease.
All
Is
right.
that how it works?
Sure.
I got 6
Why not?
doctorates. My name's Sam Beckett, not Josh Marshall. I leaped into this body.